Welcome back to Right Fashion Academy YouTube channel for another interesting tutorial. In this class, I'll be teaching you how to sew this pattern gown. It's actually Ankara combination with plain, as you can see right here. So I'll be teaching you how to sew this gown from the drafting to the sewing, as you can see right here on the dress form. So I will implore you to stay till the end of this tutorial and be patient. So I will be beading all these plain areas. So by the time we are done beading, it will come out exactly as it is right there on the video and on the thumbnail. So if this is what you want to learn, I will encourage you to stay till the end of this tutorial to learn more. So please be patient. You need your basic bodice pattern. So this is my basic bodice pattern. I don't want to start writing on them because you have a lot of things to draft right here. So once you have gotten your natural neckline and you have gotten your shoulder slant of 1 inch, go in by 0.75 and connect to your chest line. You know how to get your chest line. Bust divide by 6 plus 1.5. That will give you from shoulder to chest line. You get your bust point, your under bust, and your waistline. Once you have gotten this and imputed your bust dart, my bust dart is 2 inches, and you can see the back has a difference of 2 inches. So if you don't know how to draft a perfect basic bodice front and back, I will advise you to go back to the channel to learn how to do that. So we'll be jumping into this tutorial without wasting time. So for this tutorial, the first thing we are going to do is to create all those designs on the bodies. We'll create them, take them out before we now go ahead to construct the bustier. So the first thing we want to do is to create our neckline. So for the neckline, I'm using 4.5 by 4.5. What I mean is from here is 4.5. Can you see that? From here is 4.5. So width is 4.5 inches depth, and the width is 4.5 inches. So that is what you have in mind. So now, after that, I'm going to connect my neckline. Of course, you can use your free hand to connect it, because what I have here on my ruler might not give us what we want. So this is our right neckline. So after you have done that, we'll leave the neckline and we'll come over to the waistline. So this is my waistline. So the waistline is going to have a band, and that band that the waistline is going to have is going to be 1.75 inch height of band. So from here I'll mark 1.75. So that band, I'm going to cut it out on fabric. I'm not placing it directly on the bustier, but I'll use it to determine the other design. So once you have gotten the 1.75, the next thing you will do is to create the height of your bustier. So what I mean is the yoke line. Okay, so for the yoke line, some people come from the shoulder at 7 inches. Okay, it can run within 6, 7, 7.5. But for this tutorial, I'll be making use of my bust point difference. That is my bust radius. So my bust radius here is 4 inches. So I'll place that 4 inches here. At least that forms my bust radius. So if my bust is sitting on this dress, this is where it's going to sit all around. This is where it's going to sit. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to come up from here, from that place is sitting. I'm going to come up from there by another 1.25. At least I'm sure 1.25 or 1.5. Okay, let me do 1.25. I'm sure even 1 inch is enough to cover the bust area. So if you still want, you can do 1.25 if you don't want to show too much. So let us just simply do 1.25. Sorry, 1.5. This is my 1.5. So this 1.5 bust line, I'm going to place my tape right here. So it gave me exactly 7.5. Okay, you can see it's 7.5. So I'll just go ahead and mark the 7.5 from shoulder. So that is the next thing you will do. That 7.5, just go ahead and create the line. Can you see? So ensure that you have it straight, very important. 7.5. I'm using the other part because that other part of my tape is not good. So now once you have gotten this, the next thing you are going to do is to come over here from the center front. You are going to measure 2.5. So I'll just go ahead and measure 2.5. So if I measure my 2.5 or 2.75, let's do 2.75. From here, 2.75. So if I measure 2.75, I'm going to connect it back to what I have right here at the 1.5. So note that this measurement I'm taking can also change. You can remove maybe 0.5 inch if you're a smaller size. You can remove 0.5 inch or 0.75 from it. That's if your body size is small. Please take note. Okay, so what I mean is if your body size is small, if I'm using 2.75, you can use 2 inches, okay? And here the band remains either 1.5 depending on body size or 1.75. I believe you understand. Neckline can be 4x4 depending on body size and shoulder line, so it's not too wide. All right, so now that we have gotten that, the next thing we'll do is to take the width of this placket. So the width of this placket, I planned on using 1.25 for the placket. Okay, I planned on using 1.25. You can also use 1.5. Okay, let me just use 1.5. I think that's what I have here. So I will use 1.5 and then I'll connect it to the 2.75. Okay, so here is 1.5. Then I'll come back to the shoulder line and I'll also go in with the same 1.5. So I'll go in with the same 1.5. Then if I go in with the same 1.5, I'll first of all push what I have here to that 1. Or just come to the midline and measure the 1.5 because it needs to be equal. Can you see? Then you go ahead and do what? Push it this way. It needs to be equal. All right, so after that is done, I'll leave it at this point because we need to also go ahead and create the panel that is going to run from this bust line. Okay, so and to do that, I'll just go ahead and take from here to run the panel. I'll place my tape right here and I'm going to measure 1.5. Note that the width is equal. The width of what we have here is 1.5, 1.5. So from here, you still come down. Okay. All right. So sorry I lost my video clip, but I'm going to explain what I just did to get this other part. So what I did was, after I drew my line up to this point, from this line we created, I came down by 1.25. You can see my 1.25. So from here, 1.25 or 1 1/4, I placed my pattern ruler this way and connected up to this point. Then I measured 1.5, which is the width from here, 1.5. I measured it 1.5 all around like this. and follow the same shape from here and mark here, and now use my straight ruler, the same shape here, and mark here. So that's how I got that point. So I stopped somewhere here because we are going to connect what we have to this point. So this is actually technical, but it's something we can achieve. So now the next thing we are going to do is, from this point I'm going to place my pattern ruler to connect this one point. Sorry, I'm going to create a I'm going to measure from here to here to connect what I have here, and it's going to be the measurement of 4.5 or 4 inches. Okay, so let us just do 4 inches on this line. So I measured from here now 4 inches. So that 4 inches I'll connect from here, from that point to this point. Can you see that? So once you have done that, then we are going to straighten what we have here. You just go ahead, or just take a little of this armhole shape, just a little of it. I don't know if my ruler can give me, but this is just what I want at this point. So when I'm tracing, I'm going to trace what I have right here, and this one will lay on top of it. So that is why I have to stop here. But if you want to continue, so it goes in and it does not show. Of course, you see how we'll do it when we are sewing it. So let me just complete it. So when I'm tracing, I'll trace 1, I'll trace 2, and I'll trace 3. So these are 1, 2, 3. And when we are going to place it, we'll place 1, place 2, and now place 3 right on top of it. So you are going to see how this is going to be achieved. So now I'll bring in my tracing paper. So whatever paper you want to use, that will give you a perfect trace. Just go ahead and use that. So for me, I'll start tracing using my brown paper. So I'll take my time now to trace this very, very well. So I'll just use my pencil. After placing my tracing paper, I'll use my pencil. I'll have to get these points the way they are. Later I can go ahead and highlight them with my pattern ruler. So I'm using my pencil because if I am not really happy with what I have there, I can go ahead and clean it up. So you can see I'm still using my pattern rulers. So, but I'm following exactly what I traced out. So this is what I got for 1. So this is my 1. Later I'll highlight it. So next, I might shift my paper this way to get my 2. So let me quickly do that and I'll be back. I'm done tracing. So once you are done tracing, just fit it in to be sure it's accurate. So this is number 3. And this is actually how we are going to sew it on the bodice. On the bodice, I'll first sew 1. After I'm done sewing 1, okay, I'll place 2 on top of it. Can you see? So I'm going to place 2 on top of it. So I'll make sure it covers. Can you see that? Then later we are going to place 3 on top of it. Can you see? So here you can see we have exactly what we have on the thumbnail. So people will now start up the bustier. We want to start up the drafting proper. So please, I don't want you to be confused with the lines, all the so many lines. So just follow my marking, okay? So as I'm drafting, I could have actually changed my marker for this, but I don't really have another marker to change it. So the first thing I will do for my bustier is I'll just go in and from the natural neckline, not this one we recreated, divide it by 2, get the midpoint. So my midpoint falls at this point. So I'll take it all the way to the bust point. Okay. Now, this becomes our yoke line. If I'm cutting out now, I'll cut this yoke this way. That is how I'm going to cut the yoke. So now I'll come over here to take my 0.75 here, 0.75 this way. So that is my over bust dart. So I'll go ahead and create my over bust dart, flip it this way and create it. So you can see. So once I've gotten the over bust dart, I'll now come over for the bust tightening. So if you notice the neckline, it runs into the armhole. You can see it's running into the armhole. So I'll not add anything to it. I will not replace the dart because it's going to fit in directly because of the armhole. So now the next thing I will do, I'll come to the underbust. So my underbust circumference is 37. So when I divide 37 by 4 line, so I'm going to, my underbust is 37 inches. Then you divide the underbust by 4. So 37 divided by 4, I have 9.25. So I'll just mark the 9.25. Like I said, I'm using the other part of my tape because here is not actually giving me what I want. So this is my 9.25. So I'm going to check what I have from here to here. I have 1.75. So I'll impute 0.25 from this dart out, and anything remaining, I have 1.5 after putting 0.25. 1.5 I'll mark. So yours will definitely be different from mine, but if it's the same, just go ahead. If it's different, just go ahead. So I place my pattern ruler this way. You can see how I'm placing it to create the bustier. So you just have to sit it appropriately to touch what we have here and the bust point. Then flip it this way to touch what we have here and the bust point. So you can see that. So the next I'll do is to connect what I have here to this and connect to this. So we are done. So the next thing we'll do is to cut out the yoke and cut out the bustier. So to cut out the yoke, I'll first come here from this point. I'll first cut through the bust accommodation. So let me just separate front and back. Then we'll come over to the waist line. So the main work is actually at this designs. So I'll go through my actual neckline. So make sure it's the same because we've already traced out. So I'll go into my armhole. I'll take my armhole of the bodice. I'll take it to the dress. Then I'll cut from here. Okay, so this is my yoke line. That is the yoke. So this yoke we are going to use illusion mesh. So you can see it run into the armhole, as you can see. So since it goes into the armhole, I'm not replacing any dart, and it will be perfect. So this is our yoke. So the whole of what we have here is yoke. We will use illusion mesh to cut and turn it normally as we cut our yoke. Then I'll now go into my bustier. So I'll cut out the bustier this way. I'll come this way. Make sure you don't leave a sharp point here. So just blend it up. Blend here up. You can see how I did that. And when you are cutting, you follow the blended line. Then Can you see that? So I take off the dart and close up my bust dart. So this dress is actually technical, and that is why I'm having this done directly this way. Can you see that? So I've closed up my bust dart, and then this is what I have. So this is F1 and this is F2. That is front number 2, and this part I'm cutting it on fold immediately. So I'll match up what I have from the chest line to see if it's equal. So you can see it's not equal here, so we are going to make it equal by adding up some pepper. So I'll add some pepper here and make it equal. Some pepper and add below this way. So I'll just apply my adhesive on it, especially on this, because we want to make it match up. So what we have here is the chest line. That is the main line to match. So when you are matching it, just bring it, this one, a little closer, so you can see the difference. It's not actually much anyway. So I'll just place my pattern ruler the same way I placed it when we were drafting, and then I'll fill it up into the armhole. So that is it. So I'll just go ahead and blend back into the armhole. So this is what our pattern will be for us. Can you see that? And this one comes into. So by the time we bring this together, you can see what we have. So we are going to part this and join this. Then we'll place back all our, of course you see how we do this. Okay, so now let me cut my patterns, but we are going to draft the back first. To the back, this is my center back, and that is where the zipper is going to be. So the first thing I'll do is to contour my back. I'm going to contour my back from here with 0.75 or 3/4. So once I've done that, I'll place my pattern ruler this way. You can see how I placed it to the neckline of 1 inch. I'll just go this way and blend it. So after that, I'm going to take my actual waist measurement. So my waist measurement, I'll take it now. My actual waist measurement, I'll take it from there. So I'm using this other part of my ruler, like I said. So this is where my actual waist measurement divided by 4 falls. So once that is done, the next thing I will do is to measure my actual bust measurement. So this is where it falls to. Then I'm going to reconnect everything. So by doing this, I've replaced that contour line. So now the next I will do is to take the measurement of 4x4. Remember, we took 4.5 on the width. This is it. I'll mark, and from here, the top line, I'm going to measure. You can work with 6 inches, you can work with 7 inches. So it depends on how deep you want that back to be. So let me work with 6.5. Okay, you can work with 7 inches too. So you place it at that 4x5. So I'm placing it that way, and from here, that becomes the back for me. So I don't want it too deep, so I'll just simply work with 4x5. All right, beautiful people. So I'm going to cut out what I have for the back. The back is darkless, so I will just go ahead and cut. I will cut the contour line. So once I want to start cutting out, and this is the fabric I'm going to use. I'm using Ankara and doll face. So doll face will be for the combination, on the part we traced, and this will be the main bodice. Okay, so now I'll go ahead and hairstay. My lining is also Dolphin satin fabric, so I'm going to hairstay lining and fabric right now, then cut out this also. Right now I've cut out on my fabric all the patterns, and the wording I'm marking it out, so I'm going to cut out the wording right now, so I'll place on the body. So I've cut out the wording. You can see I'm making notches to it and placing it on the pattern. So now you can see what I have after I've estayed it. So this is what I have. So right now I'm going to sew the bustier. I have finished sewing the bustier and I want to attach the yoke. I have after I'm done sewing, so I'll just go ahead and trim it out. So I'm going to trim it very closely, but please be careful you don't cut off the stitching line. So I'll just trim it. So I'm done trimming. I'll now go ahead and turn it to the right side and give it a little prep. Please don't iron too much so you don't burn the two. So I'll just turn it to the right side and press it down a little. Go ahead to sew the yoke with the lining right now. Now I'm done sewing my illusion mesh, as you can see, and I've top stitched the lining and the fabric. So the next thing we will do now is to start sewing the design. So you can see I added my seam allowances accordingly. So I'll just go ahead and face it right side to right side. So I'll open it up. I'll place this on top this way. Okay, so I'll secure it with my pins, the neckline, right side to right side. That's how I'm going to sew it. So I'll also sew at exactly 0.5. So I'll just go ahead and sew. Then I'll leave somewhere here open to turn it. Okay, somewhere here I'll leave it open for the turning. So I will sew this way at 1/2 inch. So let me do that.